I want to take very good care of both of them. I don't want them to really hurt each other. So I'm going to referee here for a little while. Look at the Gular projections on good old Lumpy. And you can really see how these become a battering ram. We just don't want a battle to really get violent. These guys could kill each other. Here we go. It's a battle for their resources and a battle over the gals. Watch what I'm going to do. He started it. I'm going to flip him over. All right, here they go. Round 3 coming up. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Kenan here, and this is Lumpy. You know him and you love him. And Lumpy is going into the sulcata enclosure because it is getting cold. And I can't just have this guy in a separate enclosure. I gotta consolidate. So we're gonna move him over there. But the big question is, will he and Hercules get along? All right, Hercules, you better be a good boy, man. This is gonna be pretty intense because a few years ago, Lumpy wasn't well. He was living over here and he got dehydrated and I had to have a feeding tube in him, and basically we nursed him back to health. Now this tortoise is very special to me because he belonged to a close friend's father, and my close friend died a long time ago, but her dad gave me Lumpy, and Lumpy's been with me since 2004, and he was only that big. He's been living here at the camp for that long, and he actually is a pretty tough tortoise. He actually killed Zeus, who was a large sulcata, and unfortunately I had gone to Australia. Oh, thank you. There we go. We pushed that out of the way. I had gone to Australia, and he kind of got tough and killed a 200-pound male sulcata. Now I think he's chilled out in his old age here. Well, middle age, I would imagine. The guy's only about 27 years old. That's not even middle age. That's actually quite young and spry for a tortoise, especially a sulcata. These guys can live over 100 years, no problem. So now I want to see what the first interaction is like with these two tortoises. I want to take very good care of both of them. I don't want them to really hurt each other, so I'm going to referee here for a little while. Most of these skirmishes will be ended, you know, in a couple of days. But the reason I'm doing this is not to have a tortoise sumo battle. It's because I need to have him living in here with a heater. He doesn't have a heater in the other enclosure, and it's just a lot of work for me to continue to move him back and forth. But look at this. Here is some jousting, and you look at the size of the Gular projections. Come on in here, Matt. I want to show you this too. Matt's back, everybody helping me out. Look at the Gular projections on good old Lumpy, and look at them on Hercules. Just a very, very sheer difference, and you can really see how these become a battering ram. And what he was able to do to a much larger male was get those Gular projections up underneath here. Come check this out. If you look, this is their flesh, and it's attached to their shell, because their shell is part of their skeleton, it's part of their body. So if it just pokes through here, it could actually pierce them. I was able to see Zeus's lungs. There was nothing I can do. And right now, they're just sniffing each other, figuring out like, wait a minute, are you a boy? Yeah, you're a guy. So, whereas he might be a little dominant, he has the bigger projections, and we just don't want a battle to really get violent. Believe it or not, these guys could kill each other. So I'm actually gonna be on hand, make sure things calm down. There's plenty of space and visual barriers for these guys. So let's just see what's happening here. Right now, just checking it out. Unfortunately, there are females in here, and that actually aids, that actually causes more combat. So let's just have a look. I'm gonna show you a little trick that I've done in the past to kind of stop this aggressive behavior. If you have sulcatas, you may want to try it out too. You better have some muscles for it though. These are big tortoises. So you can see right now it's just who's taller than who, but boy, Lumpy's got some really nice Gular projections. And it's almost like a jousting situation, like two knights coming together extremely, extremely slowly. But it's still pretty amazing to watch this behavior. Now here's something else. If you're looking to breed tortoises, combat is actually something that can help the fertility of the males. It increases testosterone. Here we go. It increases testosterone, and it basically enables them. Now watch what I'm going to do. He started it. I'm going to flip him over. you may think that's mean. It's not hurting him at this moment. If I left him for hours, he could overheat, or his lungs could be crushed by the insides of his the rest of his organs, because tortoises' lungs are on their back. So what I did was I flipped him over to let him think he lost to Lumpy. And this way they'll get a pretty good, you know, a good understanding of who's who in this enclosure. Now I'm gonna flip him back over and we're gonna do it again. This could be a long process, friends, but it's, see, he's looking for Lumpy. Lumpy's behind him. He's trying to smell where Lumpy went. But it could be a long process. I could be out here for quite some time over the next few weeks. But to be honest, it's gonna be easier for me to get all my tortoises into their habitat when it's cold. We gotta get them into the houses. I don't want these guys to get too cold. Here comes the lumpster. Let's see what he does. Let's see what Hercules does. They're both pretty much the same size. What do you think, Matt? I mean, they're close in size. I think Hercules might be a tad bigger. I really don't know.
That was pretty quick to the aggression, but they were facing each other.
Yeah. Let's see. Now, Lumpy used to be the king in this enclosure. Hercules is more of a new arrival, but right now, look at Lumpy following Hercs. Now, once he finds a girl, it'll be interesting to see if he goes for any breeding behavior. It is breeding season for these guys, as I mentioned before. It is what it is. When you're keeping multiple tortoises, you can get them to chill out together, but you've got to put the work in. So at the moment, it's a high-speed tortoise chase. But also something that we should look at. Even though sulcatas are the same species, these are the exact same species, I want to just point a few things out. There's locale variation amongst them. They have a very large range all the way from West Africa into East Africa along the southern edge of the Sahara Desert. It's known as a region, they call it the Sahel. It has a wet and dry season, but mostly it is arid. Basically, these are a desert species of tortoise, and we always would joke that everything in Africa just gets a little bit bigger and more gnarly. But these guys, if you notice, look at the flaring here on the carapace on these marginals here. Look at how Lumpy's flare out like that. And of course, look at the size of his gula projections. Up, here we go. Now Lumpy's gonna be the aggressor. We're gonna let them do this for a moment. They're just jousting right now. This is normal behavior. But what I'm gonna do here is I'll flip Lumpy over since he started it, or actually, let's see. This is interesting. They'll either try and wedge them against an object, which could be catastrophic, which is how Lumpy killed Zeus many years ago. Because he wedged him against a solid object and just pushed and pushed and pushed and rammed and got those goulers up in there. Now, I've seen some breeders actually wrap this in vet wrap to kind of soften the blow, if you will, to dull these gular projections. But at the moment, this isn't that horrible. I'm not seeing like a real intense battle here. And Lumpy seems to be moving off. That's good. This is kind of hopeful. I'm hopeful. So pretty interesting stuff, huh? I mean, it's amazing. You wouldn't think that these tortoises have any kind of social hierarchy, but when they get together, they definitely do. Now, if this were in the wild, these animals would basically live mostly alone. They have their home ranges. But what happens is, when they come together, it's a battle. It's a battle for their resources and a battle over the gals. Like I said, it's a high-speed chase.
Yeah.
This is about as fast as tortoises get, but it's still pretty intense.
If they went inside, would you let them go inside?
It would be, that's a tough one. They could fight inside. So you definitely want to make sure, look at this. This is good. I like the fact that Hercules is just taking off here a little bit. And I think once he finds a female, he'll be more interested in the female than chasing him around. I'll tell you what, guys, at this moment, I'm gonna step away and let these guys figure it out for a little while, but I've got a really cool time lapse set up to see just how far and what these guys are gonna be doing for the next few minutes. All right, we'll leave them to it, but don't worry, I'm not far and I'm not gonna let these guys murder each other. See you in a bit. Oh boy, here they go again. It looks like Hercules is backing this guy up. So what I'm gonna do, one more time, is that. But I also have to be careful because if Lumpy keeps on being aggressive after he's flipped upside down, I'll probably flip Lumpy over too. Let's see. Lumpy seems to be content with that result. And a while back there was a video going around of two sulcatas fighting, or actually a sulcata pushing over another one, and the caption was, "Tortoise helps his friend." That's not what he was doing. What probably happened is they had a combat issue, one got flipped over, and the other one was still being aggressive and attacking him even after he had won the bout. So, it's a little deceiving thinking that they're friends. They're definitely not. Okay. Good stuff. Let me flip him back over. And we'll keep this train rolling. Ah, this is what my day is. Now, when you flip over tortoise, you also have to be careful, especially with giant tortoises, of which, believe it or not, the sulcatas are the smallest of. You want to be careful when you flip them over to not trap their leg, their hind leg. They can break if you roll them over and don't support that leg. So we got to keep an eye on the leg and its position. All right, here they go. Round 3 coming up.
That's crazy that they're just pushing them into each other.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. It's, you know, I'm just keeping an eye because he is able to back up. But what I'm going to do again, oh, let's see. All right, so Lumpy decides, let me back off on this one. It's basically just going to take some time. All right, Hercules. I had to flip him over a few times because he was the aggressor and I want him to get a little taste of humble pie. So again, we're gonna be careful with that back leg. All right. Oh, good man. Those weren't bones snapping. Those were actually branches. This guy is so powerful that he can walk away with me leaning on him like this. Look at this. This guy is tough. He's been in here a long time by himself. That being said, he's got to learn to share. I think it's going to take a little while, guys. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take a little while before Hercules and Lumpy, who's over there at the moment, they're probably coming back to each other. Check him out. He's just kind of wandering around over there. But yeah, it's going to take a little while for these guys to make nice and become buddies, or at least tolerate each other. But, you know, you got to be careful if you're introducing adult male sulcatas because they can get quite aggressive, as we've seen. They can injure their shoulders, and in some cases, they could even die from this combat. So I wanted to show you guys what was going on. Again, just to reiterate, I put them together because I need Lumpy to be back with all the other sulcatas so he can make use of this heated hide, since the temps have fallen into the 60s at night. Now, these guys are pretty tough, but once it gets into the 60s every night, I like to make sure they have a little heated shelter to take that edge off and just keep them comfortable at around 72 degrees. Lumpy is one of my favorite tortoises here at the camp. He's one of my longest kept animals here at the camp, but I just don't want anything to happen to any of the animals. So today was a little bit of an education for some of you, maybe. If you're thinking about a sulcata tortoise, they're wonderful animals, but they get big, they require a lot of space, and if you get two males, you see what will happen. All right, guys, I'll let you know how it goes. If things get too gnarly, or if I notice a change in their behavior, in other words, if Lumpy is a little depressed, which can happen, I'll go ahead and make a different arrangement for him. But it would be nice to get him back with the gals. I'm sure he's missed them. All right, everyone, if you enjoyed today's video or learned something, leave a comment. Go ahead and hit that like button. And for anyone else who wants to see more content, go to patreon.com/Kamp Kenan. See you guys later. Oh boy, here we go again. It's gonna be a long few days. See you guys.